All right, I am back. My name is Rudy Knapp, and this is Legacy Build Your Kingdom. I'm excited to be back. It's been a couple months. I even took a month or so off before that. So, this last period of the year here has been me just decompressing, looking at my life, trying to get my life in order, but also coming up with some new things that we need to talk about. So, I'm back. I'm back regularly. I'm going to be recording once a week again. Hopefully, those people that like to listen to me will jump back on board, listen again. I'm very excited to have this topic today. Today, I want to, I have so many different topics, but today I want to get into a little tribute to something that really was life changing in my life. Today's an anniversary. It's an anniversary of a few years ago where I completed um, this program called 75 Hard. It's a mental toughness program. And this program, if anyone's ever talked to me, they understand how important it was to me. I emphasize how important it is, not just for me in my life, but how it should be for everyone in their life, because it's taking control of your thoughts. It's taking control of your mental health. It's taking control of your life. And this whole concept of legacy and building your kingdom and legitimately my entire existence of what I believe comes from the same concept from 75 Hard. I've lived this my entire life. I know it was there recently in the last few years, but I've decided to change. I've decided to change how I think. And this program was a big part of it. It's changed many things in my life, maybe some for the good, maybe some for the bad. I don't know. But I know in the last few months, I've done some real digesting of my own life and my own mistakes that I make, and I've made a lot of them. And I'm still healing myself mentally through a lot of things that I've gone through. I know that everyone does, right? And so, one thing in life is we cannot be the victim. And we do take on that victim role at times because we feel sorry for ourselves or we feel that we're upset about something and how could this happen to you? And, we blame God and we get into this concept of constantly looking at ourselves as if we're a victim. And one thing I've realized, and I've realized a lot in the last few months, is that people want to be the victim and they want to create a narrative to make you the bad guy. And sometimes they push you to be the bad guy. And so when that happens, we either give it to them, so we're actually helping them, and in some sense, by making ourselves come out of our own character, our own emotions, or they will still create this narrative in their brain that something is so horrible that the grass is greener somewhere else. And so when we say that, that goes with any relationship. It goes with your kids and you're the dad and you're such a mean guy. And because you're creating structure in your household or because we're creating an environment where you have to work hard for what you want, or maybe, in your job, your profession, and you're the boss. And, sometimes we create this narrative about our boss and how awful it is, but really are they that awful? Is the actual environment of where you work that awful? We create this narrative on how bad it is without having all the facts. The same thing in relationships. It's happened many times over that, you're a bad guy because of this or that, or we look into social media and we believe the things that we see. We use AI. I laugh at people that seem to think those are reality. We look into this concept of allowing everything around us to create this narrative. And, that's our life. We talked a lot on this podcast about thoughts versus thinking. And one of the things is, including myself, we get into this thinking mode. And when we start thinking, we're adding to this narrative and it creates an even worse situation. The reality is, people in your life are not as bad as you seem to claim them to be when you're upset or you're angry. And the reality is that they're not as great as you thought they were as well either. You might think they were such a great person and this was so great, and maybe it wasn't so great. Maybe you just tried to convince yourself it was. In any sense of it, we've gone through this entire emotion and this whole concept of how we think can control and change our entire life. And it can keep us down and it can keep us from success and it can hurt us. And we have to control that along with our emotions. And I will be the first to tell you, as much as I've worked on my controlling my emotions, I've had some incidents lately that I haven't controlled my emotions. I have not trusted in people. I have a hard time with trusting in people that are close to you that have hurt you before. So in those senses, we have to be able to get over it. And we have to be able to move on and control our own emotions. We have to find people that we can trust in, that we're going to go and give all of ourselves to them. So when we do that, we can create a successful relationship. But what we have to do is find a way to do that with the people that are most important to you. And when we do this, we hold ourselves accountable for what we've done. I've had a lot of recent conversations about, I'm sorry. We live in this world, and I'll talk about this in another podcast, but we live in this world where I'm sorry is good enough. It is not good enough. You make mistakes. I make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm sorry is not good enough. You need to repent. You need to make sure that you understand the word repent means we say, I'm sorry. We give a sincere apology. When we say, I'm sorry, it should be deeply God sorrow. Godly sorrow means that your soul hurts, that you won't ever want to do that to someone again. Now, something simple like, I stepped on your foot. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I understand that. There's probably no making up for that, but you never let it happen again. That's your sorry. When you do something awful to somebody, you destroy somebody, guess what? I'm sorry doesn't cut it. There is a repent. And repent means you're deeply sorrow, and then you make up for your mistake. And that means reassurance, constant. That means fixing it or changing. Or here's a simple fact. Look at your partner, look at your person, look at your kid, look at your mom, your dad, look at whoever that relationship that you hurt and say, what do you need from me so I can help rebuild this relationship? What do you need from me? I need, okay. And then guess what? You do it. You repent. You do what they need because they're important to you. They're your loved ones. They're somebody that you want to fix, something that you broke. Instead of, I'm sorry, and then going right back to the same behavior. That doesn't exist. So a lot of these things come back to one thing, mental toughness and mental health. And as we look at, therapists and we look at all of these doctors, and everybody can go back and tell you everything comes back to your childhood, and we'll all put it on that. And yes, a lot of it does. And so because of your own damages inside, because of things that has happened to you, and we use as examples or we use as excuses at times, one of the things that we have to start looking at is, yes, let's identify what's going on. Let's identify where this comes from, and let's fix it. Let's move forward. Let's be able to deal with it. Let's heal from it. When you damage something, you need to be healed. And that means it takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes other people to help you heal. When that happens and you show you genuinely care, you give that effort, then things can be made up and relationships can be repaired and things can move forward. When we talk about mental toughness, we all have a weakness to us at some point, but we have to be able to step back, and we have to have this mental toughness going forward where we can get over ourselves. We're not a victim. Bad things are going to happen. And remember, and someone told me this once, and I'll always use this, and it makes a lot of sense. God never promised you a great life. He promised you life. He never promised you a great life. You have free will. You have the ability to change your stars, as everybody might say, or the movies might say. Change your stars. Stop living in the victim role. Stop living in your past when you were a child. Stop living in, this is what happened to me, and you're identifying yourself as what happened to you. No. Everybody has a shitty life. Everybody has something bad happen to them. Everybody has somebody that passed away. Everybody has a rough situation. But you are the one that controls you. You have one life. Live it. Move forward. And it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm still struggling on my own every single day. And I think I'm one of the most mentally tough people you're going to come across. I have built myself that way. And that comes from the 5 aspects that I've talked about in my life coaching business, that I talked about on this podcast. There are 5 aspects that you have to understand in life. Mental toughness touches every single one of them. It's the most important. We have to use mental toughness to build our physical being. We have to understand health, physically being healthy is an important aspect of our life. You need to be there for your kids. You need to be there for your person. You need to be healthy so that you are not struggling in this life. You need that. And the only way to really change that way is to mentally get tougher. You need a purpose in life. You need a spiritual uplift. You need to use mental toughness to block out all the things that we know are sins and move forward and be someone that trusts in God and follows God's way and follows our purpose in life. Our career development and understanding that We want our financial stability. We have to have some mental toughness with our money. We have to be able to use and apply what we know about what we need versus what we want. And we have to live lifestyles in which, if we want something, we have to save for it. We have to create situations where we make more money. We have to make sure that we are mentally tough to look at how we can survive. And the last one is that relationship intelligence. That is so important. It is so important to be able to have conversation and be able to communicate. One thing that I'm coming across is that men and women are complete opposite in communication. We'll talk about that in relationship podcasts, but women might not like to hear this, but I'm coming from a man's perspective, and I'm telling you from personal experiences over and over again to understand that some good women are out there, some amazing women are out there, but they still are stuck. They're stuck in their masculinity. They're stuck in this communication disconnect. Men are very literal people. I am a very literal person. I'm going to tell you directly what I feel and what I need. That's what women want from men, is what they're telling us. But what happens when we go ahead and we tell you directly, or we tell you how we feel? Then it's all of a sudden changed around into the way that they think you feel. That's not correct. And men, guess what? We don't listen. We have to listen. We have to understand our partners. We have to look at our people and we have to say, hey, I know she's emotional and I know she's going to probably twist what I'm saying. So I have to find a way to connect with her that she understands. Very difficult. It's hard for men because we're saying, hey, we're telling you the sky is blue, but you're telling us the sky is grayish blue is what you think we mean. No, we mean the sky is blue. Please, women, pay attention to this. We'll have a whole conversation on this. We'll have a whole podcast on this. Please pay attention to this. All right? We cannot see what you're thinking when you tell us something different. Tell us directly. Listen to us directly. So emotional intelligence comes into play where we got to be able to communicate and have relationships that we understand what the other person needs. Put your partner first. I've screamed this. I've had conversations about this. I've had arguments. I've had breakups over this. I've had a lot of different things. Put your partner's needs first. Give 100% effort. When you put your partner's needs first, they will reciprocate. Trust in your partner. Women, trust in your man to lead a relationship. Because if you can, you're going to have happiness. If you can't, it's going to be a struggle forever. That relationship's going to be a struggle with communication. So going back to this concept of what today is about mental toughness, this is the anniversary of a couple years ago that I finished this program called 75 Hard. Andy Frenella, I believe is his last name, created this program. And he has a podcast. He's amazing. He has a lot of good things he talks about. He's very extreme. I like that he's direct. He thinks a lot like me, maybe not as empathetic as I am, but I will say very much makes sense to me. And when I listened to him for the first time, because I saw a friend from high school posted that he completed this program, and I'll always be grateful for watching him step outside his own comfort and post it on Facebook saying that he completed his program and putting himself out there for what he weighed before to what he weighed again after the program and how much gains he had. And then this was never about losing weight, but this was about improving, growth, mentally being tough, being able to complete something hard. 75 Hard is this program. I'll go ahead and I'll tell you the synopsis of what this is. It is 75 straight days of doing something hard. The hard is 5 things that you have to do. Now you get to create how hard it is. Now keep in mind, the whole concept is to get over hard things. So you want it to be hard. So I took that literally and I did it as hard as I possibly could. I can stand here in good faith and say with all of me and all of my heart that I did this to the T, to as hard as you can make it, to what Andy Frenella was talking about when he said make it hard, no excuses. He talks about don't let your bitch voice come out, or basically that means you got an excuse. It is something that is so life-changing for me. I will never, ever take a step back and not give credit to what I received from this. Again, 5 things you have to do every single day. The first thing you have to do is you have to have a strict diet. That means you don't get cheat days. So doing things like Weight Watchers where you add up points and you get to save some for a big meal and go to McDonald's and all that. None of that exists. There is no cheat meals. There is no sweets. There is no sugar intake when it comes to like adding those things on that are not part of your diet. You pick what diet you want. You stick by your diet. You make it extremely hard for yourself. I did things like I'm not going to have any cheese. I love cheese more than anything. Guess what? I cut it out. I went through and I made sure there was zero sweets whatsoever for 75 straight days. I made sure my diet was so strict and I had meal prep and I did everything the proper way. And I will say I never cheated. And so, that being said, number one is a strict diet. Number two, you are going to drink a gallon of water every single day. That's 128 ounces. You are not allowed to drink 100 ounces. You're not allowed to drink 110 ounces. You are calculating 128 or more ounces of water. If you decide like, oh, I can't drink it today, you will start back at day one. If you eat that cookie, you will start back at day one because your diet just got blown. So you could be on day 10 and go back to day one. You could be on day 70, go back to day one. It is an integrity-based program. It is so precise that you have to calculate that you are cheating yourself and you are cheating your soul, your heart, every time that you decide you're going to do it and say, oh, that's okay. I still can have. You can't. So again, diet, drink a gallon of water a day. The hardest one, you're going to work out twice a day. You are going to work out outside, no matter the weather, with at least a 45-minute workout. You can make it as long as you want. You can do whatever you want outside. You can pull weights outside. You have to be under the sky. You can run. You can walk the dog. You can do whatever the case is. You create your workouts. Now, you create a weak workout, you're not going to get a lot of results. Make it hard. You also have to work out inside, or you got to have a second workout. I think he says you can have two outside workouts if you want, but mostly you're going to do one outside, one inside. The inside workout has to be 45 minutes. I did mine at 90 minutes every time inside. I did mine outside for an hour every single time. I started off and I decided, you know what, my outside workout will be running. And I hate running. Never ran before in my life. Guess what? I started running for day one for 75 straight days. By the time I was done in 75 days, I was running 6 miles every single day for 60 minutes. I had a weighted vest on while I was running. I made sure that this was going to be as hard as I possibly could make it because guess what? The harder it was, the more mental tough I got. I was outside in snow and sleet and running and crying and literally upset because this is hard. And I was still doing it. You don't understand how proud you can be of yourself until you put yourself through hell. And that's what I felt. The fourth thing that you have to do in this program is you have to read 10 pages of a self-help book every day. So you get to pick what books you want. I read some of Andy Fernella's books. I read some great books out there. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That's a good one. There's a lot of them that are out there. Find something great. Listen to it. Read it. Make it hard. The hardest thing was probably reading because water and reading was hard for me because you're tired at the end of the day. You have to read early in the day. That's what I figured out. Because if I read at nighttime, I'm dead tired. I worked out twice that day. I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was working out at 4 o'clock in the morning. I had kids to come back home to get ready for school. Like I had to make time. You're sacrificing everything hard you do. The last thing is you have to take a selfie every day. I know, personal example, myself, day 71 comes around. My sister reaches out to me, says, hey, I can't wait to see your before and after picture. I said to her, I'm not going to show it yet. I still got a whole, 4 days left. And she said, come on, I want to see that before and after picture. And I go, wait a second. I didn't take a picture today. So I had to go back in my file of folders where I have picture 1 all the way through picture 75 for 75 straight days, which is time-stamped on my phone so that I know I took it on the correct day. I had to go back and make sure I take that picture because otherwise I would have forgotten and had to start all over again. 75 straight days all over again. I was on day 71. Thank God my sister asked that question. I went back, took that picture before the day was up. And as long as you get all your things done before the day is up and you go to bed at nighttime, you are done with that day. So again, life-changing, 75 straight days. It turned into so much more for me. This is an amazing program that I would suggest to anyone. One time my daughter and I sat down and we started writing down all the names of people that had reached out to me and said, hey, I want to do this program. Hey, I'm interested in this program. And we were well over 70 people. I will say this. I don't know if I've met one person that's completed the entire program, 75, the first time they've done it without any starts over, honestly. I know I've had people and I know I have relatives that have completed it and maybe a modified version of it, but I want to really make this a point. Modified is great. You can go through and it's going to help your life and change your lifestyle, but it's defeating the purpose of mental toughness. Now, I no offense to them, and I don't want them to ever take offense because I will always push for a modified. I live a modified version of 75 hard. I will for the rest of my life because it's not sustainable to go 75 days with no rest days and continue on. But you can live a modified version of 75 hard because you're instilled in your brain that you are changing the way you think. I will tell you that when you do it, you do this program for 75 days and you do it the way it's supposed to be intended to do with no modifications, because remember, that's your bitch voice coming out. That's you telling us, hey, guess what? I'm going to come up with an excuse here. I can't do this because I had to work late. I can't do this because I stayed out late. I can't do this because I need my sleep. All excuses. So again, kudos to those people that had finished any version of this. I know there are people that have, but if you have finished 75 hard and actually done the whole program, I mean, the person that I saw online, Facebook, I mean, I'm assuming he did actually complete it, the one that had posted originally. I don't know his extent of how tough it was for him or how strict he was. I know what I've done. And I know I can honestly speak for me. And I know people that know me honestly know it changed my life. And so I say this to you because people that really have this concept of changing their life, this is a mental toughness program that will change the way you think about everything else in life. This program has led me to doing this podcast. It led me to running a marathon. It led me to starting a life coaching business. It's led me to signing up to run with the Bulls is what my next challenge is. Go to Spain, run with the Bulls. I've already got information together that I want to book as soon as I'm allowed to book flights. The idea is you can do anything you want to do. You can't sit back and say, I'm a victim. You can't sit back and say that I can't do things. You have the ability to do anything you want to do. We've all heard that growing up in school and everybody kind of blows it off, but I 100% believe that. 100% believe you have the ability to do it if you decide to find a discipline and sacrifice something to create a discipline. It is overwhelmingly the most important thing you can do for yourself. Create your mind to change the way it thinks. Control your narrative in your head. Control the concept of your thinking. I struggle still, and I'm pretty tough. I catch myself at times. I do a lot of reflection. I screw up a lot of things, and I've screwed up relationships, and I've screwed up, a lot of things that go forward. I've also been really good at those things too. And some people forget to understand that, and they forget to see those things. And here's the thing. You can't control what other people think. What you can do is let them go and let them figure it out on their own. And that's what you have to do. And that's the hardest thing to do, is let go. So when you start letting go of the past and your victim role of who you are, or letting go of people in your life that don't choose you or don't see your worth, guess what? You start growing. You start becoming more mentally tough. The letting go is really hard because you're comfortable, but you have to do it. It sucks because you want them to come back and you want them to see who you really are, but that's on them to figure that out. It's not on you. If they decide to do that, that's on them. It's not on you. You can't force anyone to stay anywhere. You can't force people to be in your life. You can't force friends to stay. What you have to do is you have to let go and work on yourself. And I'm serious when I say I work on myself. I go to therapy every single week. I think that it's the best thing that anyone can do. I didn't even believe in therapy 3-4 years ago. I didn't believe in it whatsoever. I think it's one of the most important things people can go through. Men, hear me. Go to therapy. Talk to somebody and be honest. Don't do what some people do. Go in there and try to convince their therapist they're this great person. Put out all the bad shit about yourself. Put out your thoughts. Put out the things you've done. Throw yourself out there so you can fix the way you've been acting. I have. And I've still made mistakes and I've still tried to fix it. And I know people think that their narratives are right and they're wrong. I know who I am. And they do too. And they truly know who you are. The difference has to be this. What are you doing for yourself? What are you doing to sabotage yourself that you have to get out of your own way? How are you controlling that mental toughness that you have? Control that narrative. Stop your thinking. Come up with positive reinforcement. Think of the positive things that can happen if you just change something. Listen to your people. Listen to your partner. Listen to your family. Listen to your kids. Listen to your parents. Listen to them. And if you truly love them, you truly care about those people in your life, you're going to put your partners, your feelings, your kids' feelings, your parents' feelings, you're going to put them first over your own because they will reciprocate. You trust in them, but you have to trust in people. You have to love them enough to trust in them, and you have to be vulnerable enough to put yourself out there. Hard, not easy. 75 Hard has changed my life immensely. It can change anyone's life. And I'm not telling everyone to go do it. I think it would be a great program for anyone to try. 75 Soft is out there, and you can do that modified version, and you can, work out once a day, and you can still drink water, and you can still, you can still read book, you can still take a selfie, you can have a diet that you can cheat once a week. Oh, I forgot, no alcohol whatsoever on 75 days. Some people throw that whole thing away because they have to drink alcohol. It's never been a vice for me. I don't drink alcohol like that. It doesn't matter to me. But some people have a big deal with it. Throw out the alcohol. It's poison in your body. You don't need it. So can you do a modified version? Can you do 75 Soft? Sure. Start there if you need to. I still think when you put yourself out there and you mentally say to myself, hey, I want to change, look at all the things. You want to get in shape? This is the best way you can do it. 75 days, I lost 43 pounds. Pure muscle. Right? I looked way different, and it's not because I'm anything special. It's because my mind changed. I wanted this. I wanted to be different. I didn't want to be the fattest guy in the room. I didn't want to walk in and be embarrassing to my kids. I wanted to walk in and say, you know what? I can do hard freaking things. It was never about losing weight for me, but that did add into this point. Changing your life, changing who you are. I wanted to be someone everyone was proud of, right? My loved ones were proud of. To this day, I live that way. You want to be proud. I watched a clip the other day and said, I'm 45 years old, I'm 45 years old. And, there's not a lot of guys out there that can say that their dads that, they lift every day. They work out every day. They're in shape. I wasn't him 5 years ago. I am him now. There's a lot of things that you can start looking into, and you can look at yourself and you can be confident. There's so many people that are ignorant that think cockiness versus confident. They don't understand because they're not confident in themselves. They want to go out there and they want to bash you and they want to say that you're conceited and all these things. No, the whole goal is to build people up. That's what this is all about. I didn't create a podcast for myself. I didn't do this for me. I want to build up my kingdom. I want to build up those people around me. I want to talk to my loved ones, and I want them to see that you can do hard shit. It's okay. We're here. We love you. And we're here to support you. My friends, my family, my kids. This is the whole reason I did this. So I say this again, look at yourself, really reflect. How are you mentally? Are you working towards your mental toughness? Are you working towards your mental health? Are you changing the way you think and your narratives that you create? Give the benefit of the doubt to those people that you love, the ones that you know are there. And go through and change the way that you're thinking about things. Get some sort of mental health, focus on it, go get therapy, work on it. Even if you don't feel like there's something wrong with you, therapy is not because I'm something wrong with me. It's because I get a chance to express myself, to work on the things that I want to work on to make myself better. That's what it's about. I love it. I love the idea that I get to speak. I love the idea that I get to listen to someone who doesn't even know me or my family or anything about me, except for what I tell them. And guess what? I'm going to tell every truth, all the hardships, all the things that I'm guilty about, all the things that I'm upset about, all the things that I did that, maybe no one else knows, that ugliness that people have inside them that they don't want to admit to. You got to admit to it to get past it. Here's the thing. You can take this for however you want. I'm saying this, and I'm dedicating this entire podcast as I come back here to, this is a new year for me. Starting now, I did this podcast about a year ago. So I'm walking on a new year here. This is an anniversary for me completing this program. This is a way for me to start rejuvenating who I am and looking back at myself and saying, I still got a lot of things to work on. Everybody does. And again, as my life coaching business will tell you, You will always have things to work on. Those 5 things I talked about, those 5 pillars, you will always have those things to work on. Do you choose to work on them alone? Do you choose to have a partner? Do you choose to go through life happy? There is a bigger picture out there. And if you don't look at the macro, you're going to miss it. If you're only focused on the micro day by day, you're going to miss that macro. But that is the most important thing. Look at the big picture and then use the micro every day to get to it. Look at the big picture. I get to change who I am. I get to change my way of thinking. I get to change how people perceive me. I get to change what I do for this world. I get to change helping other people. That's what this is about. I'm going to leave you with a quote from Andy Frenella, the 75 Hard inventor. And he says, this is about legacy. This is about service. This is about giving far more than you take. This is about inspiring the warrior attitude and taking responsibility for your life. This is about picking each other up. Sounds familiar. Sounds like everything that I keep trying to preach in this. Build your kingdom. I really hope that people will look into their own selves. I really hope that they will start looking at, instead of just being sufficient with what your day-to-day life is and being unhappy, that they're really going to push themselves to become better people, work on something in your life. You may be happy and good for you. Might have a great relationship. Awesome. I'm cheering you on, but you still have something to work on. So keep working on it. Be that model for those people in your kingdom. Love yourself. And then you get to help those people around them love themselves and get better. I'm working on mine. I'm going to continue to work on mine. I promise you, I'm going to be back next week. I promise you this is going to be a weekly thing. I'm going to get back into it. This whole platform has fallen down on me. I found a way to figure it out. I'm going back to being consistent. So here we are. I'm back, and I can't wait to hear some feedback from some of you. Please like my things on Spotify. Please listen to this and follow it. Please go ahead and take a look at my website, legacy coaching buildyourkingdom.com. Take a look at the website, pass it on to whoever it is that might need some life coaching and a little bit of help to get started on things like this. I promise you, you'll never regret it. I promise you, this is something that's big, that can help you. I'm there to guide you and to help you and support you. So anybody needs anything from me, please reach out. Signing off. Take care.